I would assume you've grown academically, like intellectually, but have you grown in any other capacity through this program?
Sure. I think the biggest leaps I've seen have just been in character development, as well as even spiritual development.
Okay.
The spiritual development, being a Christian university, we do incorporate, a lot of the Christian teachings and Bible passages and things, which I've really enjoyed. And so, yes, there's a lot of that. But within that, you're also able to kind of tailor like assignments to what you want to study. So a lot of times, I'll tailor an assignment towards, all right, I want to grow in this aspect of my faith over these 7 weeks. I want to set this schedule to, all right, I want to nail down my Bible reading for these 7 weeks. Like, this is how far I want to read. This is what I want to study. This is how long I want to meditate in the Word, that kind of process. So that spiritually, for sure. Character development's been something I didn't think would happen as much. But even like character transformation was one of the classes we took.
Right.
And I think that you really dive into, you start with theories, you start with a series of leadership theories of just morality itself.
Right.
And then you grow into, all right, now down the road we're applying those to other classes. So you're kind of getting a mix of, it's building off each other, which is neat. So even in these later classes, I can look back to like, all right, 6 months ago I took this class, and I read this book, and it's applicable now in this class as well. So it's kind of neat to see, all right, I'm going back. It's like in our ethical decision-making project we just had. I was able to go back and kind of like, all right, think through some of these a little bit more, I think maturely, in terms of not only thought process, but just character and how it developed over than I think I even would have been last year.
So tell me, I mean, just your opinion, what does character have to do with leadership?
Sure. I think leadership is one of those things that you don't necessarily have to have great character to be an effective leader, but to be a truly effective and changing and a leader that somebody wants to follow and somebody can look up to be more than just one kind of aspect of leadership. I think character plays a huge role. I think people will be more likely to listen to you and to follow you the more you kind of practice what you preach. It's one of those things that, yes, character on paper might not look like the best qualifications. On a resume, if you have really good character, it might not help you get the job as much. Just on paper, based off somebody had 10 more years experience. But I think that is one of those qualities and one of those things that is indispensable as a leader. For sure.
How does leadership relate to your Christian worldview?
That's awesome. That's a good question. I think God calls us to be leaders, as in our families, in our churches, in our communities. And what that looks like is different for every person. We all have a calling. We all have something we're called to do. But as a leader, if anybody in a leadership position, you can almost always find yourself in a leadership position. You think about your life. You think about, okay, you're an adult. You probably have kids. You might coach a little league team. You might be a manager at your job. You might get promoted to do, in some way, shape, or form, we're almost all leading somebody. Even peer leadership, that goes on all the time. So I think just as a Christian, I think that plays a huge, huge role. I think God, the way we want to change the world, the way you can change the world, God called us to be leaders. I think leaders are people who make change happen. And I think that's one of our biggest callings as a Christian.